Vermilion, Ohio has ranked among the top 25 beach towns in all of America almost every single year. And in this video, I'm going to give you the pros and cons of living in this cute little beach town. Hi guys, I'm Patty. Welcome back to my channel, Living in Cleveland. You know the drill. I make videos about all things Northeast Ohio, Northwest Ohio, and even down south. If you don't want to miss any of my videos, make sure you hit the subscribe, the like, leave a comment. I love them. All right, let's just jump right into it. Vermilion, Ohio. I've done a video on it before. I might have done 2 videos. It's right next door to where I live. Where is Vermilion? Vermilion sits right on Lake Erie. If it's one of the best beach towns, it should. It is 35 miles west of downtown Cleveland and 17 miles east of Sandusky. So lots of people in Vermilion work in the Cleveland area or they work in Sandusky area. So it's almost halfway. If you've watched my older Vermilion video, I'm a former Vermilion teacher. I taught there for 4 years, taught in the high school. My son came to school with me during his 8th grade year and before he transferred to the Amherst schools. So let's talk about some stats about Vermilion. Vermilion, so we know it sits 35 miles west of Cleveland, but it's actually in 2 different counties, which is really strange for a suburb. So it's in part of Lorain County and part Erie County. Now the schools have redistricted. When I was there, they built a brand new elementary building, and a lot of the districts in Ohio are doing this to save costs. They're building all of their buildings on one campus. And that is the case in Vermilion. It's called Sailor Way Drive because they are the Vermilion Sailors, of course. So the high school, the elementary school, and the middle school all sit on all on Sailor Way Drive. They had a brand new, like a rec center. I can't remember what they call it, but you can go in there. The kids can go in. It's open to the public too. They have workout equipment. The kids can go in there, batting cages. They have track. And that's right by the football field. One of the local car dealerships donated a huge jumbotron, which is really nice. So it's really a very tight-knit community. Most of my students, their parents grew up in Vermilion. Their grandparents grew up in Vermilion. In fact, a lot of my students had never been to Cleveland. Like, ooh, well, we have to go to Cleveland. And I'm like, you're a suburb of Cleveland, which they never got. In fact, when I had sophomores, I had my bus license. I had the big, Vermilion bus, and I took my kids a couple times downtown, took them to the West Side Market. Some of them had been there, but a couple of my students had never been to downtown, let alone, all the stuff that we did. So really, and it's actually a very small school district. I'll get into that later. But Vermilion itself, the geography of Vermilion, when people think of Vermilion, they just think of the cute little downtown area. And when you see the video, that's mostly what I'm going to show because that's what everyone wants to see. But there's about 11,000 people that live in Vermilion, and it's 11 square miles. And you would be surprised. You can go south and you go on Mason Road or Darrow Road, and it's very, very rural. I had a student and he lived on a farm and they didn't have water. They had to go take their truck and fill up these big, huge tubs of water. And they were both like football players. And I'm like, don't you go through water? Like do you take a shower after practice, right? They're like, oh yeah, during football season, we got to fill that thing up like 2-3 times a week. So a lot of it is very, very rural. I didn't get to drive by. My favorite pizza place is right on Route 60, and it's like in the middle of the country. It's called Smoke and Joe's, the best wings ever. And you have this huge whole rack, not ribs, I meant. If I said wings, I'm sorry. Ribs, a whole rack of ribs, and this huge pizza box with fries and garlic bread and a salad for like $22. And it's fall off the bone. So a lot of it's very, very rural. In the downtown area, super, super cute. There's also some, of course, the homes along the lake are ridiculously beautiful. Lots of different developments. And being that and plus there's the Vermilion River, which is what the town is named after. And along that river, which is right close to downtown, they have a couple campgrounds. So you'll see it when you do we drove through them and they're just opening up right now. People are getting their boats ready. The problem with down there, there's houses down there that are so cool, and some of them are on stilts. Every few years in the spring, it floods. And normally when it floods, it's so bad, it makes the local news. So if you're looking down there to be on the river, just be forewarned, it does flood, and it does happen. Let's see, what else? It's considered a maritime community, obviously on the water. McGarvey's is like a historical landmark restaurant, and it's not McGarvey's anymore. Of course, they still have the landmark sign on it. It's a Quaker Steak and Lube. And it's the only really, other than Chez Francois, which is another restaurant that's kind of on the Vermilion River, Quaker Steak and Lube is about the only restaurant bar area where you can sit outside, and we love doing that in the summertime and watching the boats go by. They have a sail club where kids are in these little sunfishes, and they're coming in and out with their sailing classes. And there's a lot of sailboats down there. It's just the cutest little thing. And let me hit on Chez Francois, and you'll see it. I'll make a note of it when we go through it. It is one of the only, is it Michelin rated? But it's one of the only restaurants, I think, in Ohio that there has a dress code. It is that fancy. I have never been. I've been to the bar that's attached to it, Touché, which has the same food, and oh my Lord, it is to die for. I had this, was my birthday, lobster risotto with scallops. Oh my God, it was to die for. So downtown Vermilion is super, super cute. It has its own beach, and they're getting ready to build, oh, sorry, my computer's talking to me. They are building a little beach shack where you can get chairs. It's called a comfort station, suntan lotion, but it's really cute because you can go to the beach. There's parking there, and then you can walk up. There's the soda pop grill, and the owner used to be a Vermilion teacher, and I used to team teach with his wife. She was the math teacher, and he would make her a sandwich every day from the soda pop grill. It is really cute. So one thing that I love about, well, let's keep talking about schools since we're on that. Schools, they do get rated a C. And I can just tell you from being a former Vermilion teacher, we worked very, very hard on getting up those scores, and, you know, very hardworking. I've never met more hardworking teachers, the principals, the administration, and a lot of the staff live in Vermilion and are Vermilion graduates. So hardworking staff, everybody knows each other. You just feel like you're part of the family. So, and if you've seen all my videos, a C's average. So it's all what you get out of it. And let me tell you, they had AP courses. I had a student, she really wanted to learn sign language. So I did some research, and yep, it qualifies as a foreign language. And we found her a sign language. We were able to offer sign language. So really, because it's a smaller district, you're able, I mean, our superintendent was like, what do you have an idea? I'm like, yeah, well, I have an idea. I'm thinking about this. Go for it. You know, just such a great level of support, which is really what you need in a school district. Let's see, what else we want to talk about? Oh, it's called a small town on a Great Lake. That's our little logo. So let's talk about, before we get into homes, let's talk about what's fun about Vermilion. Everything's closed on Monday and Tuesdays because when the weekend happens, they have so much going on. And today's Wednesday. I did all of my filming yesterday, but starting in May, and I don't think I'm going to get to it, and I'm going to see if I have film from last year. Every third Thursday, starting in May through September, it's called Third Thursdays, and they probably bring around 30 music acts, at least. And they shut down the main street, and every corner, there's somebody else playing some kind of music. Everybody goes to all the little shops. There's a really cute little shops. Just little knick-knack places. There's one on the corner, Erie Anchor. I have a couple shirts from them. They're so cute. There's a coffee shop that I go to all the time. There's an olive oil store, a couple places that make, you know, clothing, and super, super cute. So they have Third Thursdays, which is a huge hit, especially in the summertime on a Thursday night. And like the Prague restaurant, which is right on Main Street, they do, now this was before the pandemic, but I think they were coming back last year. Like almost every night of the week, they have live music outside, which is so cool because they have this cute little outdoor bar. and you could just go in, have a drink, or just sit down, listen to the music. Super, super cool. In June, they have Festival of the Fish, which is a big, huge weekend festival. I've never been because it's always on some crazy weekend in June, then I have something else going on. But what I have been to is the most famous, everybody in Ohio knows, especially the Cleveland area, the Woolly Bear Festival. And Dick Goddard was our local weather famous person, and he started this Woolly Bear Festival. God, I've been going to it since I was a little kid. It is the largest one-day festival, I think, in the country. Over 150,000 people visit it every single year, and they have this huge parade. Been to it many, many times. It's just one of those things. It's really, so Vermilion really is a well-known city in the Cleveland area because of all the festivals. And what's also great about when you're walking around downtown, now let's talk about housing, because that's what we're all here for. The median home price in Vermilion is about $212,000. Now, there is such a wide range of homes that you can find something probably in the 80s and you can find something in the millions, depending on where you're at. When you're around Sailorway Drive, where the schools are, Sanford Street, it's all little ranches. They're all super cute. And back in there, down some of those roads, you have a lot of split levels, you know, some older 70s style homes. But there's also new divisions. I think it's called, is it Indian Ridge? We go through it. Brand new, beautiful homes. Well, they're not brand new. They're like 10, 15 years old. So lots of different older neighborhoods, newer neighborhoods, not to mention what's being built on the Lake Avenue right in front of, you know, waterfront. There's also a few mobile home courts, which we drove through one. You'll see it. It's right. I'm like, oh my God, I could live in here. It's right on the water. It's like a double wide, but it was beautiful. So lots of variety of homes. But the downtown area, and you'll see it. So the neighborhood community is called the planning committee, and the historic committee is called Harbor Town. So they call downtown Vermilion the Harbor Town Historical District. And you're going to see Victorian homes, Italianate, arts and crafts, which is my favorite, and Queen Anne style homes. There was one for sale in Vermilion right downtown. You could walk, you could walk to everywhere in right down. It's right on Main Street. It's 2 doors down from Rudy's Bar and Grill, which is like a staple in Vermilion. And it was for sale. So I took my in-laws and we went and looked at it. It was beautiful. Arts and crafts. Beautiful front porch. Gorgeous. And guess what the best part of living in Vermilion is, which is the best part of living in Lorain County, Erie County, out of Cuyahoga, is the property taxes. Less than 2%. Around 1.75%, you know, depending on, so Vermilion is so big, and I've mentioned this before, when we get into these more rural areas, depending on where you are in the city, you could be part of Vermilion School District or you could be part of Fireland School District. And both are open enrollment. So the one Indian Ridge community, it's a little bit further south, way closer to Vermilion, but I've been in many of those homes as they've been for sale, and I've seen Firelands, you know, hey, you know, in the front yard, we have a Firelands graduate here. So that's just personal preference, you know, probably their parents went to Firelands and want their kids to go to Firelands. And Firelands and Vermilion are pretty comparable school districts, except Firelands is really rural, like really rural. So I think I've touched on everything I wanted to say about Vermilion. If you'd like to check out any homes in Vermilion, you know who to call. I'm here to help. This is what I do. This is my passion. And enjoy Vermilion.